Okay, it looks like it. I just have to wait for it to connect over here. Let's see. Yeah, I can't. Anyway, it's done. Done and dusted. What's done is done, right? Better late than never.
Exactly.
Okay, let's see. Here we go.
And it actually helped me get over my nerves, so it was meant to be for my.
Well, based on the video your mom shared with me, I don't think you have any problem with nerves. Did you?
I'm very good at just talking and being myself through my nerves. So it's like it doesn't ever hold me back. They're like a healthy amount of nerves, you know.
I can relate to that. Now I got to figure out what Lanna Joe this is. Dang nation. Oh wait, Lanna Joe. Here it is. I'm pretty sure one mutual friend. Yeah, that's it. Boom. Tagged. All right. We got 24 people in the house. We got a very special show and a very special day. Todd's a bit off his ass. But this is the Ascension, so what can we expect here? It's not like anything out of the ordinary. If in fact, if everything's normal for you, then you're probably not awake, even if you think you are. Just kidding. Hello, Donna Carroll. Thank you for arranging this. Everybody, yes, I'm an hour late because I messed up. This is why I don't do the scheduling. Every time I schedule, something gets screwed up. But
Go with the flow. Do it in the moment.
Absolutely. All right, let's see what we got. We got 31 people in the house. Give another 20 seconds. Let me kill the music. Here we go. Boom. Okay, let me move this over here. All right. Well, let's see. All right. Thank God that I looked at my phone because I actually had something else scheduled in 30 minutes. But it was kind of a free. It was kind of a freestyle thing, though. No, we got plenty of time. We usually go an hour. We can go a little bit longer if you want. Let's just see how it rolls.
Every time I schedule something in, I end up booking things on the same day, and I'm like, oh no, because there's so many things always happening at once.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know. I call it the loss of the 3D memory.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Right on. So prescription energy message. Hello, Tina. I'll look for your message. There's like 500 of them, literally, and I'm trying to develop a way to hit them all. But yeah, we'll be getting back with you. We always have. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 or 4 months, but we will answer every one of them. So we have a very special show today. You know how I feel about young people. We've had a few young people on here over the years. We're at, I'd say, around 3,500 episodes. And we probably had 20 or 25 episodes with young people. And when I say young people, I mean anyone really 21 and under. Because if you look at the demographics in Soulogy and these communities, which I'm not privy to the communities, but I know ours pretty much follows suit. The 18 to 24 has been almost non-existent in these communities. Not that they're non-existent, but they just haven't been in these communities. So we're really looking to bring them in. And I've noticed over the last, I'd say probably the last 6 to 9 months, that percentage has started to come up, right? It started to come up. I don't know what it is, like 1.9% or something, but at least that integration is occurring. So, and it's happening because of people like this. So we got real lucky because a really cool lady, Carol, she hit me up and we were talking, and that's one of the messages that I did get back to, and somehow or another it fell into my lap, and it was all in perfect synchronicity. Next thing I know, we're going to do a show, and here we are. So it's a real pleasure. Thank you for coming in and honoring us with your presence. Let me put your name up here, and and sharing space with us, Lanna Joe. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me as well. It's amazing to be here and talk about this stuff because I don't do this online as often as I should. I do on my TikTok. I connect to people my age, but it's nice to speak to people of all ages, and because it's cool to hear other people's perspectives on it all.
You're right on. So you do have a social media video or live presence. You do. You do.
I do, yeah. Like, yeah, sorry, I do. I connect to people my age through TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah. Right on. So
Yeah.
I've got 6 children, and Morgan's got 2, and our youngest are a month apart, and they're older than you. They're a year older than you. They're 20, and so you're 19. Oh wait, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I might be a year
I'm
off.
20 in August, so not too far behind them.
You're 20 in 4 months. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Well, in
So
August. August, sorry. Not
August.
4 months now.
That's when the
We're
Soulogy
nearly.
Fest is. That's when the Soulogy Fest
Pardon?
is. That's when the Soulogy Fest is. August 26th through 28th.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I was August the 10th.
Okay, I got you. So your mom said, and she sent over something to me, and I just copied and pasted it. 19 years old, assists young people in the ascension process. Like, there's so much to unpack here. It's not even funny. But like, my first question is, I mean, I know your mom's lit, just from talking to her, messaging with her, and obviously you're lit. How did that start for you? Did you have, like most people that come on this show, this is their story. Their story is typically 90% of the time is, first of all, they're going to be between 35 and up, mostly 45 and up, 55 and up even. But they'll say, I was born with certain sensitivities, and
Yeah.
almost to the last person, every single one of them. And I think every one of us could probably say yes to that. And then they say that somewhere between, like, say 7 or 8 and 17 or 18, they ignore it. They push it away. They go to sleep, whatever you want to call it. And then
Yeah.
years later, in most cases, they'll have like a traumatic event or a series of traumatic events, and they'll have a wake-up experience on or about 2012 that will open up a whole new world to them, and they're then labeled one of the crazy, insane people that, everybody wants to treat as an outcast, which is becoming the largest, fastest growing minority in the world. But so that's pretty much, and then their abilities start to come back in. But in your case, you're
Yeah.
19 Earth years. So, like,
Yeah.
how did that happen for you? Were you always this weird?
Yeah, always been crazy. Well, seemed to be crazy. I feel like I've always been connected to this divine being, divine power, divine light my whole life. And as you say, you ignore it. And for me, it was really hard being a teenager because I knew what I had to do and I didn't want to because I just wanted to have fun. I had quite a lot of traumatic things happen to me in the past. So due to that, I didn't get to be a teenager. And so all I've wanted was to just get that rebellious, party teenager life out my system. But I now know, after like my soul journey up to this point, that actually it's not all it seems to be, and being on my path feels much better than living that like false 3D version of being a teenager, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, so I fought it for a long time, but I'm finally in a place now where I believe actually I can do it all. If I want to go to a party and be that rebellious teenager, I can. It's all about balance for me where I am now, and not fighting it. If I want to do it, I can, and also just staying on my path at the same time.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And a lot of us older folks have had, and when I say addictions, I mean energetic patterns, behaviors that have been embedded into our neural pathways, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of back and forth. Oh, you should be vegan, no matter what. Stay away from this. Use that. Don't do this. Do that. And so I think it's a very individual thing. But I love your philosophy. I have to remind myself, especially the last 19 days since I moved out of our first and only house, and it goes like this. Okay, what are we going to get into today? well, you're working on Soulogy Fest. Maybe you're going to do some broadcast. Here's some download information. Go put a post, whatever it is. And then I hear, but don't forget to enjoy yourself. So
Of course.
one of the things
Yeah.
I've been doing since I've been in a hotel, because I used to do this all the time, and I'm not real fond of it, but I'm handling it. Is what I do is every day I go out and I get myself a nice meal, and I
Yeah,
have,
sorry.
you know what I mean? I get a nice meal.
Well, you cut out then.
Yeah, what I do is every day I go out and get a really nice meal. Not an expensive
Oh yeah,
meal,
of course.
but I'll get
Yeah.
like something I really like, not just grab something and choke it down. But I think that's what you're talking about, and that's what I've been receiving. Almost like they're
Yeah.
telling me like, hey, if this was your last day on earth in this physical body, what are you going to do for yourself? So it might be
Yeah.
a bowl of gumbo, and whatever, but yes, I really appreciate what you're saying. Now, where did you come in to? Because I know I came, my story is I was 2 years, I woke up summer 2011. And then I, by my own choice, went homeless for 2 years, knowing, that's when I woke up. So I was connected, living a very strange life. And I didn't really, I sent text or from a flip phone up to the Soulogy group on Facebook. That was our first imprint. But I didn't really interact with people, and I didn't have a laptop. So I didn't really pick up on the term ascension and impasse and galactics and all the stuff that you run into in these communities until I came off the street after 2 years. So how did that go for you? When did you come into the words like ascension and twin flames and galactic and galactic wars and all the stuff that you see in these communities?
So I'd roughly say around 2019. So like kind of just before lockdown times, if that was all kind of the same time around the
Okay.
world. And yeah, so like I think for the younger people, they still talk about the same things. They just don't use the same terminology.
Okay.
And it was only when I think it was probably when I went to a spiritual awakening course that my mum held, and I was 16, 17. And after then, it was just almost like I hadn't even learned the language. It was a remembering, and then it just comes to you like it just flows fluently in conversation.
Right.
Yeah, probably I was like 16, 17, and that was around the sort of the time where I was in and out of spirituality. So like, and I've always have been, but like back then I was really trying to like delve deep into it, but it felt like I kept getting knocked off my path, and then I kept delving deep and getting knocked off. And yeah, so it just kind of went up from there though.
Right on. So I forgot too that your mom's lit. So that was kind of and we have had some young folks come on here. In fact, we've had like 3 different parts of or family members come on where the actual household itself is conscious. Like the father,
Yeah,
the mother,
that's amazing.
2 or 3, right? Isn't that crazy? So
Yeah,
your
it's
mom,
incredible.
your mom is a practitioner. She's active.
Yeah.
Some people over here will call her a white witch. I'm just kidding. Which is a great
Yeah.
term. Yeah, but
Yeah, we didn't mind.
well, was your mom different than your friends' moms? I mean, was she talking about, different things that are more talked or that you're more familiar with now while you were growing up? Or did she do things like rituals or anything that like, hey, you're different than the other moms?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's hard because I feel like it was so normal, like to things like, tarot readings and angel cards and just little things like that growing up. It was nothing too like, oh, my mum's practicing white magic in the kitchen, so she's different to other kids' mums. Nothing like that. No, I just thought my mum was just my mum. And to be fair, like growing up, I feel like I attracted people with very similar energies to me. And attracting like attracts like, and so most of my friends' mums were kind of on the same vibe.
Really? How cool is
Yeah,
that?
which I think we live in quite a spiritual place though. Cornwall itself
Oh,
is
you're in
very
Cornwall. You're in
Yeah,
Cornwall.
Cornwall in
Yeah.
England, UK.
Wow. There's well
And it's a
anywhere.
very conscious place.
Yeah, anywhere in the UK is people look at the UK and they go, how could that small little group of islands have all this power? But if you look at obviously if you look at history, you can see how prominent they were. And then if you look at like if you take down like say the what is it the water elevation sea level, if you take it down just like a few hundred feet, England becomes this much bigger landmass that's connected. There is no channel, so
Yeah,
obviously a lot of history there. A lot of
yeah,
people,
it's amazing.
a lot of people that come on the show either or certainly when they reawake, they start to have light language. They start to have different types of channeling. They can come out in like an artistic form on a canvas or music. I do music or write. And then also there's another aspect, and everybody's different, and there's no right way. It's just everybody's different. And then there's the second aspect would be like certain essences or faces of the universe might come in and converse or communicate or commune with them. What I've noticed about the young people, and again, there's no right or wrong answer, but I'd love to hear first about, is there any sensitivities that seem to be standing out for you now, any clairs? And then secondly, is there any type of, because a lot of the young people I talk to, it's more of like a singular voice, like a universal voice or a knowing, and they don't get Merlin and they don't get Jesus or Magdalene or,
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah. So do you have any sensitivities that are coming on board, and do you have, and how do you communicate with the universe?
I definitely think I'm seeing a lot in the younger generations and in like my generation and younger than me, like it's that the divine knowing with their intuition, how connected they truly are to that. There's no like for me, I've spent a long time fighting between what's my intuition and what's all these voices from the past, and differentiating between the two. I'm definitely seeing a lot of my age people and younger, they just know, like they've never actually studied. So I spent from the age of 15 to now studying and like really researching into a lot of different things, and these people just know it. They just know it already, and it is amazing to see like this 16 and 17-year-olds, they don't know how switched on and how woke they really are. And I truly believe that is the age of Aquarius, how different the energy is now on Earth as people are being born, and every generation that's just going to come through is just going to be more and more evolved. And I believe that my daughter's grandchildren, they are going to be, well, they're going to be something else. They're going to just be light workers, pure in the form, making heaven on Earth.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's an absolute. Do you and so yours is like a singular impression or voice or knowing. You're not getting apparitions or galactics or fairies or anything like that. You're just, you have a knowing, a certain knowing.
So not so much anymore. Like when I was about 17, 18, I would have all sorts. I'd have this blue woman visit me and guide me and give me messages and help me when I needed her. And I truly believe still to this day that that is my like highest, purest form. Whether I remember my mum was teaching me about different types of aliens and stuff like that. But I've never really like properly looked into that. But yeah.
I'm just taking that
And
in. Having a mom, like you just say it like it's normal. Like, my mom was talking to me about all the different types of aliens. Like that's
it's brilliant. And
that.
yeah, so but not so much recently. I'd say in the past, since like lockdown, it's
Mm.
always been like me. I'm just contacting me from a higher perspective. And yeah, I don't like. I think for me anyway, I can't speak for anyone else. When I used to like be guided by something else, it was almost like it's for me. It's like knowing it's me gives me more power to create, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, and knowing that not just me but us, like all of
yeah,
us, is that. But before, as when I was like reaching out to different higher beings, I think changing it to actually that is me just made everything easier, made me be able to
Yes.
manifest so much easier and much more clear guidance. Yeah, so that yeah just really worked for me, just not thinking and knowing it's me.
That's a really good point because a couple of things. One, if I look at my own situation, if I look at so many of the people that have come on this show over the years, uh, you'll hear people talk about the team, my team, or those that speak to me, or however you want to say it. And one of the things that I've noticed, and it's not 100%, but it's the vast majority, is that as time goes on from the point of waking up, the number of people or the number of essences that they're picking up on gets smaller and smaller and smaller because it becomes more of a singular voice. And I love, and I've always been intrigued by that. Why are the young people hearing one voice or, having that, you know what I mean? And, and I think your explanation takes care of it. I remember,
Yeah.
one of your countrymen, David Icke, he came on
Yeah.
the show a couple of times, and I was really excited because I wanted to say, wow, let's merge like the conspiracy with the light worker starseed thing. And I was really amazed, and I think people were too with the first interview and the second one. But the first interview, when we really got to know each other, I asked him about that. I said, what is going on in the world? In these communities, we got people all over the world that are seeing fairies or getting visitations or seeing angels. And he said what you did. He said, it's us. So just the fact that you consciously said, this is all me, then it all becomes, to me, it would make sense. It becomes more clear
Yeah.
and less confusion, because when you have, let's say, a visitation, then it brings in that whole, hey, they're there and I'm here thing. Like, how do you explain that?
It kind of
Yeah.
like separates you from the divine, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think the same goes where I've seen a lot of people in these communities evolve, but struggle, but evolve, has been with, let's just say, negative, dark, unwanted, not the same alignment energies that might come visit. I look at them the same way. That's me, right? I mean, my
Yeah,
relationship to him
100%.
totally changed. My interaction totally changed when I took them. And this is a few years back, but I mean, I took them on as I would a light being, because they're all the same, come from the same place. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like you have to protect yourself? There's something out to get you or anything like that?
So I absolutely love that you said this, because I run like a healing club. It's called the Healing Club. I do it every Monday. And a couple of sessions ago, I was being visited by the same realm every time I was doing my healing. And it wasn't a dark realm, so I don't perceive things to be like dark like that. It's just dense and not light, I should say. And every time I was doing my meditation, I kept on seeing it, kept on seeing it. And then recently I went, okay, right, I've had enough. I can't ignore it anymore. I'm just going to just face it. And I looked at it and I was like, right, I pulled out my notepad that I've got here and I instantly wrote down, this was all downloaded. I don't actually remember doing this. I just wrote down, I am cutting all soul contracts from any life ever lived. I am taking back all my power from any life, any consciousness, it's all mine. And then I looked up and I looked at these entities and there was so many of them. They all just wanted to jump in, like all of them, but they couldn't. And I looked up and I gave them loads of love. And as I was doing this, I was picturing them leaving and the space they were in turn into golds and yellows and purples. And as I was doing this, I look up and voila, they're gone. They've evolved, they've gone. And I'm looking at purples and beautiful yellows. And it was just incredible. And I was just like, every time I see something dark now, this has kind of been the past few years of my life. So I used to see like reptilians a lot and lots of creepy things. And now I just say, I love you. I love
Mm-hmm.
you. And I love you. And I give it loads of love. And it will rather evolve into something lighter, a place of love, or it will run. It will go so far that you'll never see it again.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Yeah, it's
something. There's
incredible.
something about. I think a significant shift in somebody's experience and consciousness in the human form when they go on the offense, period, instead of
Yeah.
being on the back of their heels and being on the defense, right? You know what I mean? Like waiting for something to happen versus utilizing the power that comes with an expanded awareness that, you know, like you're explaining that you do yourself. So I think that's a great lesson for a lot of us, because there's still, you know, nothing against saging. You know, everybody needs to do what they have to do, but at some level we need to understand. At least it's my opinion, and I think we're in the same branch of the tree of life here, because it's all the God particle. So all this talk about AI and you know, hey, I'm AI, right? I mean, I'm a soul stuck in a body that's what, like an avatar, right? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so if we want to get technical, anything beyond the one is AI. Is
And
something
that's
that
so strange you said this, because I had that download the other day, and I was like, because I literally had a message saying like, you are artificial intelligence, like not me, but this.
Right.
And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm human. And then like my higher self was like, yes, but what is a human? It's an avatar that you're inhabiting. It's a vehicle that you're riding. And it's like, so yeah, so that's just another message for me on my journey that actually maybe, yeah, we are. That's exactly what we are.
I'm with you on that. Now, you talked about just real briefly what you see as the highest aspect that you've experienced so far of yourself. The blue being, and it's interesting because one of the first young people, and we've had him on several times. He's a wild man. A lot of people say that looks like you when you were young, Todd. But this kid is a really cool kid, Dane Jones, and but he was talking about. I said, what was, you know, like one of the, you know, the biggest experiences you had, because he was, you know, like say 3-4 years back. When he woke up, he's probably 22 now. And he said that he was laying on a beach in Florida because he was living on the beach, kind of homeless, you know. And he said a blue being came to him. It was a woman, and it was a blue being, and he never could put his finger on it. Like, you know, was that a galactic or... But when it comes to your aspect that you talked about, this blue aspect of you, what does it feel like to you? Does it feel galactic? Does it feel multi-species? Does it feel like it's coming from a certain planet? How does it feel to you?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's like a multi-dimensional being. It's like my soul recognizes it as being familiar. So it's like my 3D mind almost can't comprehend it, but it's something I've seen and been around many, many times, and like, you know, more than I can probably count. And I feel like that's the same with all kind of higher entities that I visit and see, or when I travel to higher realms. Sometimes when I travel to higher realms, that feels more like home than this does right now, like sat talking to you in my living room. So it's definitely just, it feels to me just like it's just like a realm, different dimension.
Yeah, I think most everybody here would totally agree with you that it feels much more like home when we're not in the body. And,
Yeah.
you know, this year seems to be really special. You mentioned that your timeline kind of correlated with the whole COVID programming thing, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to be said for that, because, you know, we spent a couple of years, the world spent a couple of years in self-introspection and isolation and solitude and re-examining this and re-examining that, being taken out, you know, we know the drill. But as we've gotten into this year and the bullshit's kind of like falling away, and we're kind of like, it's almost like, you know, the smoke is clearing. There seems to be some things that are very prominent that are growing in frequency and frequent in their frequency of occurrence, as well as the range of frequencies, right? And what I'm talking about is telepathy, intuition, magical things happening, just knowing, lucid dreams, dimensional experiences through meditation and group sessions and otherwise, and so many other things. Are you seeing an acceleration in your sensitivities, in your experiences, in your knowing, or anything in particular this year, and even more specific, the last few weeks?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like everything's speeding up. So things that weren't so normal, so like manifesting would usually used to take me about 3 months, and then it would take me a month, and now it's like, what do you want to create today? I will make the impossible happen. So definitely, yeah, things are just speeding up rapidly now. And again, the knowing and the divine knowing, the having actually knowing the difference between what is my divine self and what is a past self, or whatever version of me that's trying to take the microphone at that given time. And so yeah, 100%, and not just seeing that in myself, but seeing it in people that you wouldn't necessarily ever think you'd be able to have a conversation like this with are coming out with this stuff, and you're just like, you're gobsmacked, because you're actually seeing what you've been talking about for so long come true before your eyes. And yeah, it's just incredible, seeing all the shifts wild. In life.
That's wild to hear her say that. And here's most of the people here, probably 45 to 65. Incredible. But what you're saying, though, a lot of people this year, especially the last few weeks, are coming on saying the same thing, because a lot of them are practitioners. They're practitioners like your mom, and so they're dealing with a lot of people. Like, there's a lot of people coming in. They're just waking up. And in the last two, we haven't done a lot of shows this month. Like I said, like 5 or 6. I've done some panels, some open mics where we had several people on. But one of the things that you're hearing too is I'm having conversations with people I never thought I would. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. And then when you make the reference, after all this time, I think, it makes a lot of sense, because, let's just say 5 years in the life of a 19-year-old, that's a quarter of their life, so it makes a lot of sense when you say that. It sounds like what I've heard before. The people have just been older, but how does, because every one of the young people that I've brought on, and the one I try to connect you with, I don't know if you connected with Juliet Jones. She's 20, I think, 19 or 20. She's in.
Yeah, I think I did, actually.
Yeah, she's really special. We should do a show together, both of y'all.
That would be amazing. Yeah, I added her on Facebook.
Yeah. But yeah, and so when I talk to them, the young people, they kind of say what you said, and maybe you can add to it if there's anything you can add to it. But they said, what you said earlier, which is these folks my age don't know they're awake and how high their frequency is. But people like Juliet, when she talks about her, when you're referring to her, what you seem to be alluding is that they're onto it in some way. They're just not speaking in the terms that we speak, let's say, in these communities, because we're coming from a different perspective. But can you give us an idea of what these young people, let's say whatever, 15 to 20 or whatever your experience is, what are they picking up? What is it that they're displaying and, characterizing in terms of, making you go, okay, they're actually onto it. They just don't know it. What are you seeing in them?
So I'll give you a plain example from me and actually my friend. My friend is very, what people would say, closed-minded. She doesn't really look into it whatsoever, which is fine. If that's a beautiful thing for her, she doesn't want to look into it. She doesn't have to. And one day we were sat there, and bearing in mind, I've never really spoke to her about this stuff because I knew she wasn't, we wouldn't be able to have a conversation about it. And then one day I was sat with her, and we literally just sat on her sofa, and she said that she had a vision of the earth splitting into two, and it was the new earth, and all of the negative, dense things of the past stayed on the first earth, and the new earth was filled with positive vibes and love and light and heaven on earth. And it was really funny because I was doing my therapy course at the time, and I was becoming a therapist with my mum, and we were talking about the new earth that day. And then so as I'm sat in front of her and she's talking about it like she was there, and I was so gobsmacked. So I was like, wow, how do you know all that stuff? And she was like, it just came to me. It was a vision. I thought I was just daydreaming it. And she's not connected to any spiritual platforms, anything like that. She doesn't go on her phone much. She's not so yeah, it was pure downloaded. And I've made a lot of new friends recently, and they're all about anywhere between 16 and 19. And because they're all a little bit younger than me, I've kind of always hung out with 19 and older.
Mm-hmm.
I was so amazed at so just like the way they don't judge and the way they don't have any attachments and the way they don't hold on to things and they very much live in the moment, spontaneous and like yeah, like there's no programs. They're not structured to
Right.
fit like to live a 3D life, which is incredible. Like most people 16 plus, like plus to my age or sometimes even younger, you ask them what they want to do with their life and all they want to do is have fun and travel and live a life of peace. Whereas a couple years ago, ask someone my age, what do you want to do with your life? Go to uni and do subjects, things that they don't actually really want to do. It's what they think they want to do. And so you're seeing a lot more of, there's no programs anymore. There's no false matrix. It's almost just like they've never even had that false matrix in their mind, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And it's great news to hear this, And I got to say too, because I've got 6 kids and they came in, I would say, 2 different eras, right? And I maybe getting this wrong, but I think the 90s was what, Generation X, I think, or something like that, or millennials.
Yeah, I don't know the labels.
I'm not.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but I noticed that
Yeah.
with the ones that are they would be like 26 to 32 now. They're kind of following one path, which is more entrenched in the traditional, get a degree,
Yeah.
da 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 da. But the young ones, because I actually had them with me. They're 2 girls. I actually had them with me when I came off the street, and we spent about 3 years together, living together while I'm starting Soulogy, and they're at the ages of like 11 and 12 up until 13 and 14. So they're coming of age as women, and I'm having this, and I'm a single parent at the time, and I'm having the downloads and everything. But that's one of the things I noticed about them, and not from high school graduation either. I'm talking about from like 13, 14 years old, because I had to talk with them, and I said, listen, obviously you want to do what you want, when you want, how you want, with whoever you want, without having to answer to anybody. And I said, that's great. I'm going to treat you like women now, but don't come crying to me and wanting me to be a daddy for a kid if you're going to take this on. And I remember that conversation. We had it at a Christmas, and they would have been 13 to 14. And they took that on. I mean, they have done what the hell they want to do, and they don't care what people think. They just do what's good for them. So it's really a lot of what you're saying in terms of what you're picking up on. It's not about following a course. It's about, it's like a bee, going from flower to flower. It's going to go where it wants to go, or a kid in a toy room is going to pick the toys it wants. So that's a beautiful thing. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm glad to hear that it's picking up in terms of the number of young people. How do you now? You support young people with the ascension process, right?
Yes.
And I'm assuming that you do a lot of that online, or is it local too?
Well, most of it is like, I do loads of stuff online, but really, like, I spend my whole life just doing that. Like, even when I'm just going to the shops, I'll be talking to people and just dropping seeds and just throwing things in and just watching those seeds grow. It's incredible. And especially with my healing club, so as I said earlier, like, a lot of the teenagers don't use this terminology, so I'll put it to them how they do understand it, and I almost put it towards them in like a scientific perspective, because some people are like, well, I don't believe it unless you've got some facts to back up the evidence. Okay, well, here's quantum biology, here's quantum physics, and really showing them, and just then watching those little things I've taught them become, and I mean, the people that I've worked with telling me just one class with me has changed their whole life, because they don't think or feel the same, and they don't look at the earth the same anymore, doing what they want to do instead of doing what they think they have to do. And it's amazing.
Well, and so this is mostly online. Is that right? Not that it matters. What's that? Is
sorry, I thought you were asking me, but that was online. I was going to say no, but I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, still, you got to find the people, whether it's online or in person or both.
Yeah.
And you make a really good point. I mean, like my youngest daughter, which she's 20. What year is this? Anyway, she's 20. And this past May, last month. But she'll ask me questions, and the two young ones, the 20 and the 21-year-old, they'll ask me questions like, "What's going on with the Earth? What is COVID about? What is Ukraine about?" Like they can see through the BS,
Yeah.
and they'll ask for clarification. Now I can't. I don't really think about it, but I must try to speak in their terms in a way. But you're speaking to people that are not familiar with like even familiar with the terminology. You're using a method that they understand. Do you take them
Yeah.
through? Do you take them through exercises, uh, or how do you approach it? How do you convey the information to them?
So what I've been doing recently is every Monday I'll just kind of get a group of people together, whoever wants to be there. Sometimes it's totally random, sometimes it's just my close friends, and I'll just basically make a presentation on my laptop, connect it up to the big TV, and just do a class
Wow,
and
cool.
just talk them through whatever I want to talk them through. And normally it'll be things surrounding mental health, but I'll do it in such a beautiful way. So healing mental health from a positive, loving, bright perspective instead of it being, scary, daunting,
Hmm.
and understanding that, like, we can make this a fun thing, pulling up all the things up to the surface and healing them in a positive way with affirmations and arts therapy, and just really like a much different way of looking at things. Yeah, so that's how I do it. And like as I run these mental health classes, I'm just slipping in so much, just like so much. And yeah, that's how
Do
it
you do you
starts.
ever do you ever mention to him that you're the highest aspect that you've had come to you of you has been this blue being, or even mentioning? Have you do you ever mention your relationship with the higher self?
Oh, 100%. I teach daily how to connect to your higher self. That is one of my biggest things I teach, is how to connect to your higher self, how to manifest, how to create any life you want. They are the headlines of my classes. Tap into your highest self, tap into your highest reality.
How did you learn to tap into your higher self? Did your mom assist you there, or was it more innate?
So a bit of both. Mum would plant seeds, but I was a rebellious teenager that thought everything she said was a lie, and
Well,
she would tell everything.
parents are stupid, right? Parents are stupid.
Yeah, so I mean, things that I talk about now, she would literally be telling me, and in my head, I'm laughing at her, hysterically thinking, "You're on one, mum." Um, and yeah, so it was a bit of both. So I left home at 15 and disconnected from my family. I got in a very toxic relationship, and that was my dark night of the soul. So during that time when I lived there, because I was in such a dark situation, I was looking for the divine, I was looking for the light, and so I spent months and months and months just writing about all this, like, cosmic consciousness, divine power, higher self, everything that I do now. I was just writing about it. I hadn't a clue what any of it meant. And then since then, I never actually researched or looked into anything again. All I did was write and write and write and write, just copying as well off of Google. And then since then, it was just a part of me, and I never had to really, like look into it anymore, because it was just all in me. It was all,
Yeah.
I just knew it all. And yeah, just when if I ever want to, like, find out anything more, delve deep, I don't go to Google anymore. I will meditate and sit with myself, and just surrender and kind of
Wow.
wait for the download.
Wow. So I would love to be like a fly on the wall, like what happened with this unawakened friend, the one that said she saw the earth split. Where did that conversation go? As just as an example.
So she is definitely tapped in. She is just going through her dark night of the soul, but she will be definitely be with us when we are creating heaven on earth. She's going to be there. She'll be a part of the tribe. She's just got some things she needs to do first. But I know that I know that she is very tapped in with this, because this has happened multiple times, like other things as well. We were just sat there again. She was just chatting away, and she was like, I just had a class that day as well, with my hypnotherapy class, and we were doing parts therapy, and then that night I visited her again, and I think what she does is I think she just taps into my energy
That's what I was
subconsciously.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she just does it subconsciously, and then she'll start talking about what I've seen in the day, and it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And so she's got a lot of psychic abilities, though. She is very, very, but she doesn't see them to be psychic abilities yet, because, I mean, a lot of people my age kind of like go away from that and kind of just like, it's more like magic, and it's more like yeah, it's weird. Like the language can really put some people off. Like if I said to my friend, "Oh, that's spiritual," that it would probably push her away from it,
Right.
because people can associate the word spiritual with, like, Christianity,
Right.
Buddhism, all the different religions, whereas that obviously it's a different thing in everyone's life. So that's why I changed the terminology so much, because I've noticed in the past when I perceive myself to be a spiritual person, it instantly closes them down. Whereas if I come up to them and say I'm just evolved consciously in the way I think and the way I act, then they're very intrigued and they're very interested.
Yeah. Or you just let your energy speak, right? So we have a friend who comes on the show, and her name's Kayla Casey, and what she commented on here, I'll put it up here. But what she commented on is pretty much saying what you're talking about. She says, one thing I learned early in working with spiritually gifted youth, they don't recognize themselves as spiritually gifted or as having any special abilities. They simply who they are and have always been,
Yeah, 100%.
et cetera, et cetera. They're amazing and special. But yeah, so I think she's pretty much saying the same thing, and she's had quite a bit of experience working with but yeah, I think it's like, it makes sense to me that the young people would just hang out. I mean, obviously there's subject matter and you have like an agenda or a curriculum or something. But when I look at what's going on in these communities, if I look like, as probably the best example I can think of right now would be these groups that Morgan does, which can be anywhere from 5 or 6 people to 25 people, right? Actually, we've done some that were over 100. We did one over 100, but 90% of that gathering is in silence. And something happens in that silence. Like your friend, she's picking up from you, and I'm sure you're probably picking up from her, like coding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can see where that goes with young people. Your mom just said, by the way, I'm only interrupting myself because I have I guess a sensitivity for conscious rap. She said, ask Lanna about her conscious raps. I saw one. I saw a little bit of one.
Yeah, so I've been writing music for a long time. I've just never really properly put it out there, but I'm really looking forward to, because the past couple of weeks for me, I've been doing my healing club, and it's great and it's amazing, but it's just there's little something missing, and I believe that is the fact that I love being a therapist and I love being a healer, but what do I really love the most?
Yeah.
Is performing and creating music and rapping. So I think I'm again just doing it all, just learning to do it all. And that I can do it all. And yeah, so these next few weeks I am going to be doing a lot with my music.
Well, we have a something we do here. We call it an open mic. Sometimes the open mic is just talking about what's going on, but a lot of it has been just the spontaneous collaboration with people, and some of them will do a conscious rap and some will do a poetry. We've got a great kind of a wizard DJ guy that kind of sets everything up. And we've had guitars come in and just different things. So I'll see if I can get you to accept. Or I don't know if I sent you a friend request, but I'll send you one. And if not, I'll send you a message and let you know when we're gonna do one. Maybe
Definitely,
you
I
want
would
to.
love to do that.
Yeah,
That would
yeah.
be incredible. Yeah.
It's like a drum circle. I don't know if the drum's the right word, but it's like a artistic circle or expression circle or inspiration circle. We just go around
Yeah,
the
that sounds
circle.
amazing.
Yeah, our friend, our buddy from Boston, Robert Evans, he comes in. He's pretty good. He wants to know, do you freestyle? Do you freestyle?
Pardon, sorry?
Do you freestyle?
Oh, freestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can freestyle.
Okay. Cool. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, get us together. It'd be amazing.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So, okay. Now, what made you form the group to the actual group? I forget what you call it, but the group for
The healing club.
okay, the healing. Okay.
Yeah.
What made you do that? Do you feel like you're getting guidance in what you're doing? And how long you've been doing it, and what are some of the things you're seeing in these young people that are coming?
So in the start of lockdown, once we came out of lockdown, I done my hypnotherapy course to become a hypnotherapist and NLP practitioner. And after I'd done that, I felt a little bit lost because the thought of me doing private therapy was not resonating whatsoever, and it made me a little bit sad. I was like, oh, I've just spent all this time becoming a therapist, and now I don't want to be a therapist. So I was like, okay. So I had one day out of nowhere, I woke up, I feel really amazing. I sat down, and I just had an instant downloaded guided message of actually, you don't need to be a therapist, but you can take all those tools that you've learned, all those beautiful things that you've learned from becoming a therapist, and you can use them to create what you would like to create. And what would you like to create? And I just had a vision of me, young people doing like workshops where we were doing all these amazing things, so like bringing our mental health up to the surface and healing it from a beautiful, positive, enlightened perspective. And when I had that download, I was so relieved, because when I was 16, 17 and getting therapy myself, it's not a very nice place sitting in an office with, someone who's generations and generations older than you. And it's just quite a dense way to heal.
Mm.
And the only other alternative to that is, well, no, it's normally antidepressants or counseling and stuff like that. So I was like, well, none of that really actually works. If it did work, we wouldn't be having these problems still. That's why I created the Healing Club. And I was just, as soon as the Healing Club, just that word, that name came to me, I was like, this is perfect. So then I started running a club every Monday called Magic Mondays. And so there's my best friend Taylor, he's been with me every time. Seeing him, and I've only ran 5 classes so far, and seeing him like from the start to the finish, he is like a reformed, changed being.
Right.
Like the trauma he held on to is gone, and like all of his triggers are just gone, and like the way he perceives himself, he's just himself, his true self, his happy, energetic, loving self. And it's like, I've known Taylor for 4 years now, and seeing him go from that to where he is now, we are so proud of each other, because it's like, and that's just from running these classes. And like for me, for my growing era, like because I'm obviously always growing, but like we're going from one being to another, lasted about 3 years. And Taylor, he's done it in a month. So again, like things are speeding up so fast, so fast. And yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And watching these teenagers, young people, just manifest instantly as well, it's incredible.
It's so interesting listening to you, because everything you're saying is what people say here, but the difference is kind of like you and Taylor. It took you 3 years, takes him 3 weeks. A lot of people have talked about that or realized that. But just the way you talk about things, like if you take the linear timeline out of it, so therefore you take age out of it, right? And if you take your little sample group and you take the sample group, let's say of Soulogy, much, more people, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, but the elements are the same, right? Like your role is very much like a lot of people that listen in and come on the show, because in some form or another, and not everybody, because everybody serves in a different way, but a lot of them are openly practitioners, or they're an artist. Something is forming in their life, if it hasn't already, that falls in line with their new reality, like you're talking about with your friend and yourself, where like with yourself, it's starting to manifest into this concept or reality of the healing group and all the things that will come from it. Wow, very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. Everybody's pumped up. Everybody's pumped up
Yeah.
in the audience.
It's awesome.
I wanted to ask you a couple things because I'm nosy.
Of
But
course, absolutely.
so, like, I'm just curious because of your disposition and really your aura, your energy. What's the craziest thing from a paranormal or apparition or dimensional, other dimensional type of experience? What's the thing that happened to you where you went, am I losing my mind? Or you know what I mean? Because a lot of people
Yeah.
here, myself included, have had entanglements with the mental health industry and or the the justice system. To me, they're all one and the
Yeah.
same. Because you got these people who are aware of what's beyond what's been presented as reality, and they're struggling to conform, or they're struggling to adapt, or however you want to put it. And here we are filling up the psych wards and the jails when these people are
Yeah.
just light workers and starseeds. But yeah, what's the craziest things that have ever happened to you, if anything?
So when I was going through the dark night of the soul, it was obviously a very, very dense time, and I had no clue what was going on. And when I was actually, so you bring up the justice system, when I was about 16, I had something happen to me where I actually needed the justice system, and I went through an experience where I realized how corrupt the world was, and it literally drove me crazy. I was so angry and so upset with the way the world was that it was actually driving me mad, where I thought I was going mad. Following on to that, I kind of came to peace with it, and realized actually everything happens for a reason. And and then it kind of fizzled out like that. And then on New Year's Eve this year, I can't even remember what happened because I was drinking, but something bad happened. I lost all my friends, I lost my phone, I lost everything, and I was kind of like in the middle of nowhere. And again, that same feeling of everything's corrupt, everything's messed up, everything's bad. The same feeling came to me, and I was like in a state of helplessness, hopelessness, crying my eyes out, kind of, like what is the point sort of feeling. And I'm just walking and walking in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like surrounded by trees, so there's literally nothing. And as I'm walking, I literally feel something fall so fast from the sky. It was like rapid, and it landed on my foot. So I instantly looked down, I wiped my tears because I couldn't see, and it was a book. A book fell from the sky and landed on my foot, and I've got it over there on my shelf, and it's called The Obstacle is the Way.
Are
And
you effing kidding me? It fell
this is
out
a
of
biblical story.
it fell out of the, well, I mean, a lot of people here can relate.
Yeah, so
I can relate,
really
but
believe this is like,
this is an actual.
Yeah.
You had a book fall out of the sky
Yeah.
and land on your foot.
Yeah, so I was intoxicated. So the first thing I did was obviously look around, thinking someone chucked. I didn't even look at the book first of all. I was like, who's just chucked a book at me? So I'm looking around. There's nowhere. There is no.
Right.
And as well, the way I felt it fall. It was like it wasn't
Wow.
someone chucked it. This was directly fallen in alignment with me. And it was brand new as well. This book was brand new, like completely not one mark on this book. And so I've wiped my face, obviously, like what has just happened. And I pick it up and I look at the back of the book, and the title of the book is The Obstacle is the Way. And I was in an obstacle. So just seeing that, I was like, okay, thank you, higher self. What does this mean? And I look at the back of the book, and it said something along the lines of, keep following the obstacle. You are on your right path. Remember your power. Remember who you are, remember why you came here, change your perspective, like you thought, like you know you can, like tap back into that positive outlook that you know you can do. And like I use this book in my classes now, but I picked this up, and then as I picked this book up, I look in the distance to a roundabout where I hadn't even been that night, and my phone glistening in the distance in the middle of the road. And then next to that, oh no, I didn't find my purse that night, I found the purse the next day. But again, I hadn't even been down that road. I've not gone anywhere near that roundabout on my phone. Just after I find this book is glistening, and it was just the way I was in an obstacle, and that was the way. And that book is amazing. I still read this book. There's
I would imagine
incredible things.
I would imagine it'll be your number one book for life. I mean, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good.
Yeah, it teaches you a lot.
But you know, I remember that happened to me in a bookstore when I was a little bit older than you. When I first started digging into this, like at 21, 22, and I remember going into a bookstore. I'm supposed to go over here, and then this book pretty much it just fell. And I remember when David Icke came on, he said that happened to him, and I've heard other people say that. You know, things like that will happen. In fact, in the last few weeks, we've had a couple of people come on and talk about they're walking down the street or driving in the car, and they look around and they're now in 1920, and it lasts for a short. You know what I mean? Like it lasts for a short period of time. Or I can think of it. So many people have come on the show and really said the same thing you're saying with this type of experience with the book. Like I have a friend. A good friend in Germany, and she lives in Austria, and she was in Hyde Park, I think is what they call it, Hyde Park in London, and and she was just walking, and she was about 37 at the time, and she had just had some type of pretty serious medical thing. I don't know if it was cancer or something but so she's walking through Hyde Park, and this Eastern Indian guy with a turban just calls out to her out of nowhere, "Hey, come sit with me." And she knew to. And then he handed her some stones and told her all this information. So, like, this happens to people. But to hear it happening to a young person, what do the young people say when you tell them about a book falling out of the sky or any of these other things that you're getting? Do you have to give them a little bit at a time? Or are they open to
Some
it?
people, yeah. Some people, yes, some people no. So obviously that night I had the book in my hand and I started running home. So I'm thinking I need to tell my partner and my friends what's just happened. And it was just like, it was crazy. When I tell them, most people like aren't shocked. I think it depends on how open-minded the individual is when you're telling them things like this, because that's just like a pinnacle to the crazy things I've experienced in my life I've lived so far. But yeah, a lot of my friends are very open-minded, even if they don't like actually practice spirituality or believe in it. They believe me because they know I wouldn't make something like that up. So it just depends on who you're speaking to, I think. Vast majority of people my age and younger are so open-minded that you tell them something that's happened to you, they'll believe you. They wouldn't second guess it.
Yeah, true that. They're not as conditioned. So have you seen that? Have you seen that movie? Because I mean, like, we're like several generations apart. But have you seen that movie with Nicole Kidman and Will Ferrell? It's Bewitched. Have you seen that movie? Or have you heard of that movie?
I have, not in a very long time though.
You know what I'm talking about, where she's a witch and he's immortal.
Yeah.
He's a regular human being. I just wonder. I love to joke around with women like you when they come on the show. Like, is your partner like the mortal and you're like the white witch? I mean, in other words, are you introducing to him things that he's not experiencing, but kind of like getting through you? Is he more normal, or does he have things coming online as well? How does he accept like you? Because you're obviously very open and unique in terms of what you're going to see, at least at this point. If you take 1,000 or 100 kids, 19 years old, I shouldn't say kids, I'm sorry, adults,
It's okay.
And you know what I mean? It's not, I mean, some of them may be going through the things you're going through, but they're not talking about it. You know what I mean? So like, how did
Yeah,
that,
don't worry, don't
how did
worry.
that work for him? Did he have a difficult time when you told him certain things?
So, me and Dylan met in a very divine timing. I don't know the full difference between twin flame and soulmate, but I would definitely say it was we both were already. Well, Dylan didn't know he was awakened. But he just was, and it was very divine meeting. It was, yeah, we are just reflections of each other, and we're just everything I've ever said to him, even though he's never heard it in his life before, he just understands. And he's definitely at my soul tribe, my soulmate, my twin flame. We are just, yeah, he's never actually learned any of it. He just knows it. He just knows it all. And then he is
I
my
find that
biggest,
fascinating.
yeah,
I f
he's my biggest reminder as well. Because when I step off my path, he's in
yeah.
my face like, this is what you taught me, remember?
Uh, well, you know, you hear that, and here we go again. I mean, this is 19 versus over here we might have a 59 or a 49, but they say the same thing. It's typically a woman. Uh, the partner, if the partner's masculine, tends to be, by their words, which is what you said, he's awake but doesn't know it. You know,
Yeah,
he doesn't like talk about it. He just knows it. But one of the things that you see, one of the characteristics you see with these couples, when it's male female, typically, I can speak to that. Now, it could be also with same sex, but is that the feminine pulls in the information and then shares it with the partner, the masculine, and then the energetic dance, you know, gets kicked up a level.
yeah,
Does
100%.
that sound like your situation?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. And it's we are such reflections of each other as well because like when we're both vibrating on our highest path, like we both are, but like but then if we're not, we're both not. And it's like we are pure mirrors and it's the greatest thing ever because like some of the greatest lessons are coming from each other because it's like it's almost like sometimes to learn something, you need to see it outside of you to understand that you need to work on that aspect of yourself, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
And we do. We're just constant mirrors and reflections of each other, and it's beautiful. But obviously, at times it can be triggering because we're bringing up each other's, worsts. But it's also amazing because we're healing it and we're working through it together. And Dylan as well, like from meeting him to now, just the way he thinks and acts and how evolved he is, it's insane. Well, the same goes to me as well, but it was just so magical, our meeting, and still is now. And just, yeah, the way we teach each other and remind each other of everything.
Wow. We'll have to get him on sometime.
Yeah,
I'd love
definitely.
to continue collaborations with you, and
Oh,
your
100%.
entourage, be it your partner, your mom. Now, tell me about your golden child. You have a child in the house. Is that what you were saying?
I do. Yeah, my daughter, she is 1 year old.
Okay. And I've had my own experiences with a grandchild, but we've also had a lot of people come on talking about the real young people from in the
Yeah,
womb, some from in the womb.
yeah,
Once they come out, I haven't kept tabs on a couple of them that we've had a couple of interactions with that are probably like 3 or 4 years old now. But
yeah.
in terms of your communication, now is your child a boy or a girl?
She's a girl.
Okay, girl. So have you had anything that stands out in terms of telepathic communication with your daughter? That we've had a lot of different reports, and certainly once they start talking, then it's another game changer if it continues. But is there anything going on with your connection with her?
So, not so much like telepathy, because like I mean, she is so switched on. She knows everything anyway. But I have noticed as well, like when you have a baby, you kind of get told like what ages they do what and what time they should be doing this based on, everything they've learned over the past few years. And Luna herself was so evolved. The way like she could just hold her head up normally, like it was nothing, and the way she was crawling by 4 months and sitting, walking, all of that, and not walking, but like trying to walk and stuff like that. And then I thought that was crazy. And then my auntie had a baby, and they are exactly 9 months apart. So Luna was born 2021, Anthony was born 2022. He is only like 4 months old, and he is way more evolved than Luna. He was holding his head coming out the womb. Like I was, because obviously it's so fresh in my memory having Luna, because she's only just 1 year old. So I remember her every, milestone. And I'm looking at Anthony and this baby, like, how is he doing all these things at 4 months old? Like, and has been doing them since he was 2 months old. Just meeting my friends that have got young kids, and just seeing, like, so if you look at history and what age a kid does this, what age a kid, it's completely different. Like, I remember asking Dylan, I was like, is it normal that she's trying to sit up by herself at 2 months old? Like, is that normal? And then Google says it's not. So, but I just think they're so evolved. I think they're just magical little light beings that are just pure. They're just here. They know what they're here to do. They know what they're here for.
Yeah. I think that's another thing about the COVID thing. I'm sure that I've never seen any statistics, but with everybody staying at home and getting bored, I'm sure, just like with after World War II was over, there was a big baby boom, right? But I'm sure there's going to be now, over the next year or two, 3, 4.
There's a huge baby boom, yeah.
And then of course, once they start verbalizing, one of the things that people have been talking about, I just said that, and there's 111 people in the house, and it was 1 hour and 11 minutes and 11 seconds into the broadcast. No bullshit. You can't make this stuff up.
That's incredible. Yeah, it says 111 on my screen.
That's what I'm saying. It over here. It was 1 hour, 11 minutes, 11 seconds with 111 people in the house. These synchronicities. This is what I was getting at. The frequency of synchronicities. The unarguable presence of synchronicities, be they numbers or not. What you referred to earlier with the increase or the acceleration of the cycle of manifestation. You were saying earlier, hey, it took me 3 months. Now it's like, boom. A lot of people are talking about that.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is, going back to this year, and particularly the last few weeks, that things seem to be moving very, very fast. And I'm talking about in the consciousness that you're immersed in the work that you're immersed in these communities where people are it's a lifestyle. I mean, we say we're awake. We see this, we see that, we recognize this, we don't shut anything out, we're open. But something about that, let's just say that group, as big as it may be or small as it may be, things seem to be moving very, very fast to the point where it's almost mind-blowing, and you're waking up the next day going, wow, it's a whole new world today. What are your feelings on that?
Yeah.
What are your feelings on that?
Yeah, so for me personally right now, it feels like I'm going through like the last phase of bringing things up to the surface. It's like things you didn't even know that were there. So like, I've dealt with all the big things, and I'm at this like, flow state, I like to call it, where everything is flowing, anything you want to create is just coming to you. And then all of a sudden you'll get hit by something else. So like random things, like when I was younger, I had an anxiety about walking, that every time I'd walk, I thought I'd walk funny, and I've not thought of that since I was like 12 years old, and it happened the other day. And so I think for me right now, it's just the finalized it's like the finalized last little things that are hidden in the subconscious mind, that it's all just getting chucked to the surface now. And once those last little bits things come up, it's going to be like, flow state again, and just like no matter what happens, you're kind of remaining in that positive, peaceful state of mind, and so I think that's just for my journey anyway, I've kind of done all the dark work, done all that, and now it's just the random little weird things that, you didn't even know that were there.
Wow. Well, and again, it's amazing because what you're saying is what people are saying in these, and the only difference is, which we know time is not a factor anymore, but the only difference is the Earth years, right?
Yeah.
Like talking to you, I'm 60 Earth years. But even from the beginning, like, talking about the different things you talked about from your perspective to include being a human being and enjoying yourself and letting your hair down every now and then, whatever it is. But like, I totally get where you're coming from, and it's refreshing to know that this is happening because I can't see it as clear, like say with my 19-year-old, my 20-year-old or my 21-year-old. I have to like consciously check myself and say, don't be a dad. Don't say dad things. Be a soul. It's a soul to soul. You know what I mean? But like with someone I don't know, it's a little bit different. And then, having a conversation with Juliet Jones, which I hope you guys connect, and I think it would be pretty fascinating. But it's just amazing to me today to hear what you're saying it your way. And you're saying the exact same thing that's being said on these shows in these last few weeks and this year. That's because
I don't think it's an age thing. Sorry, I was going to say I don't think it's an age thing. I truly like from my like experiences, I truly believe it is just the age of Aquarius. The time is now. That like Earth wasn't ready before. Although we've always had access to this knowledge, for the grand awakening to occur, it had to be the right timing. It had to be, perfect, that everyone was able to kind of, and I think that's what another thing with lockdown as well. I think that kind of plays a part in it, that maybe the powers that be knew that this is what they definitely know it's happening, and they wanted to try slow it down as much as they can. So it's just like, it's happening no matter what age you are. And I still see completely people that I would think that are completely on the opposite path to that, but I have a deep belief and deep knowing that over the next maybe not even 2 years now, that is it. Because just reflecting on the past year, the percentage of people and like the normality of it now, how is life going to look in a year from now? And looking at the 100th monkey effect, like the certain percentage of the population believe and know something, boom, we all believe and know it. And that's when the grand awakening will occur, where the powers that be won't be able to be the powers that be anymore, because too many of us will know the truth and the divine.
I'm with you. I've been saying it for years. Look, they tried GMOs, fluoride, chemtrails, programming, and so many aspects of that word. But we pharmaceuticals, we beat it all.
I know, and we always will. I was thinking about that the other day, just looking at the chemtrails, because I'd wake up at about 5 o'clock in the morning and it'd be gorgeous sunshine, it's really hot outside, and then there'll be a few chemtrails and it'll be grey, raining, and then around about 4 or 5 o'clock time, the sun will go, no, I'm breaking through. And nature always will break through. Nature is more powerful than anything man-made, no matter what, we will break through and we will get there. And just like using the sun as a metaphor on a chemtrail day, she will come out, it will happen.
Right, exactly. Yeah, nothing to fear. God. Oh, so do you have a few more minutes?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, let me just do a quick round. Like, I'm just going to throw some things at you and just see. And there's no right or wrong answer. I just want to see what your perspective is or what you have to say as you represent something that I don't think many of us live replay, that whatever thousands of people that watch this have really seen. Like this is an opportunity that we haven't really had, so I want to kind of take advantage of it. Just quick responses or whatever you want to do. What are your thoughts on COVID and all of the sub-programming, mask and mandates and bullshit and everything? What are your thoughts on COVID?
I believe now, anyway, that it's pure population control. I believe they knew the age of Aquarius was coming, and they were like, "Well, how do we slow it down, or how do we prevent it? How do we stop it?" And just the way the fear mongering, planting the fear into people, and then actually finding out the truth of it, like seeing all these numbers of deaths, but then actually speaking to NHS workers themselves personally and realizing it's all lies. And like actually knowing, I've been at a few COVID rallies, and I've actually met many people who have left the NHS, have left the doctors. They will not work for them anymore because they aren't being a part of the problem. They won't let the government force the fear into us anymore. And I think people seeing that and understanding that, and the more people that are speaking up, actually you're seeing, like, I don't think anyone my age now really, except for a couple, and I mean there's more people that are against it that are for it now, whereas it was the complete opposite way around this time a year ago. Yeah, like I think the only people my age that believe in COVID still are people that are like are involved in things like they are care workers themselves, and they're being programmed to believe
Yeah,
that
yeah,
things are
yeah,
bad
yeah.
when actually they're not.
Well, that's encouraging too, because if you look at, I'm a history buff, and if you look at history, revolution has been a big part of the human history. Whether it's the part that they're trying to sell us or the part that they're trying to keep from us. But one thing that isn't always the case, but in many, or if not most cases, it's when the young people come to the party, everything changes. It can be women suffrage, it can be the men, or both. But when the young people get involved, and I think the last real big, well, they had this going on in the Middle East, but the last really big one was Tiananmen Square in China. And we know what happened there. And again, that was just an obstacle. I love your book, The Obstacle, but the reference to the obstacle. But okay, so what about spaceships land? Are they man-made BS? Are they real? If I'm just saying, hypothetically, spaceships land, they come out and say, "Hey, we're your brothers from another mother in the universe, and we're here to help you," and the government is complying with them or whatever. What are your thoughts? Do you think that it would be more of a pre-programmed illusion, Project Bluebeam, or do you think that it would be our star family saying, "Hey, we've had enough of this BS. We're going to have a party now"?
Depends if I see it with my own eyes or not. It depends if it's televised. It depends how it happens. I think if it was televised and it was put out to the public, totally fake, absolutely, because that the only way they would talk about aliens openly saying they are landing, if it fit their agenda, they wouldn't. I don't think they'd speak about it unless it would benefit them. But if I personally seen a spaceship, it depends on what my intuition says, because for me, I'm not 100% convinced a spaceship is solid. I'm not sure, because now that I've traveled other realms and traveled galaxies, it isn't 3D. It's like it's so hard to put into words. It's not solid. You can't touch things. Like I could go like this and feel the way I feel now. So I'm not utterly convinced that it depends. Are the aliens going to come visit us and transmute into 3D, because that's how we would be able to communicate with them, or are they going to visit us in a different form? And it just depends. It depends how that unfolds. I guess I'd be very beamboozled if it did happen.
Well, I mean, it's something that is on the horizon. I mean, obviously they're putting it out there a lot more, and they're not being shy about it. So, as much as has been written about, Project Bluebeam and those types of possibilities, they're being pretty upfront about it. So, but I'm with you. I think that whatever we're talking about in terms of, let's just say that's extraterrestrial or extraterrestrial origin, those craft would have like a sentient quality to it, right? Like they're not like the whatever we could reverse engineer from whatever we picked up here. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. But again, like you said, I think it's a great answer too, because whatever it is, whether it's ships landing or anything else, the intuition, the gut, is really where we got to go with it.
Yeah.
In terms of like, we talked about the speed and the accelerating aspect of change that seems to be happening more and more as days go by in 2022. What are your thoughts on, and you mentioned earlier about the 100th monkey. So let me just kind of give you a multi-question. One, how close do you think we are to flipping the switch? And this may all kind of go together. Do you think we'll be teleporting? Do you think we'll be tapping into the real technology within ourselves to do what we might consider supernatural, magical things anytime soon? And if so, when?
So, I mean, for me, what I've been downloading and getting over the past couple months is it is going to be like the 100th monkey effect. It's going to be like an instant switch, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to need guiding and help throughout that time. And that's where we will be coming in to that, to really, really be helping these people understand what's going on, because some people are going to be so confused. And yeah, and just kind of assisting them in that. And then once that kind of happens, I truly believe we're going to be like just multi-dimensional beings here on the earth, and have the ability to do anything. Like, I am so convinced that, like, because when I astral travel in my dreams and I fly and I do all these, that feels so normal. Like that to me feels like just like talking to you right now, and just start floating and flying around my town. I truly believe that that's what's coming our way, like our true potential of like what we can actually do.
Yeah, I'm with you. It makes no sense that everything else would be moving, kind of equally, like paralleling. Those types of things wouldn't. I think we all know by now that we can talk about fluoride and chemtrails and all that, but really this has always been about control of our consciousness, about what we believe. So that's why I bring it up all the time. Plus, because the love of my lives is on the other side of the world, and I want to teleport. I want to be the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
So this has been amazing. I would love to further the collaboration and bring more awareness to what you're doing, and in any young people that you would want to bring on with you, partner, your little girl, your mom. I think your mom's shy.
Definitely. Mum, I think, and Dylan would love to do that. Like, that's right up our street. Just coming together and sharing experiences and realizing we're not alone. Realizing, you don't need to ask for more proof that it's happening. It's just happening.
Right on. I just want to take a moment to thank Karen Portia and Danny Kelly. I see you out here. We can't do this. We've never been able to do this without the love and support and contributions that people have offered this community. It's not about Todd and Morgan. It's about all of us. And I just want to make a note, because we haven't been broadcasting, and I honestly don't know what we would have done or what we will do. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it because we're living in a space where the universe takes care of you. You get what you need when you need it. But I just want to say, on a personal level, for Morgan and I, thank you, everyone, for your love and support and contributions, especially during this downtime, which is very rare for us. So we're going to be doing as much as we can to put on as many shows as possible. And again, thank you for your love and support and contributions. But we're going to do everything we can to get Lanna Joe back on, and some of her cohorts, including her partner, which ought to be really interesting. Thank you so much for coming in and honoring.
Thank you for having me. This has been amazing. So grateful. This has just put a huge smile in my heart.
Well, you're a natural. So did you want to do a little rap to that before we get out of here? It's up to you. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
If I'm honest, my mum told me that she really wanted me to do it, so I've been practicing just in case.
Do you want this?
um,
Do you want this music behind you, or do you want to just do it without it?
I can put a backing track on if that's
Oh, you go
okay.
ahead. You do it. Yeah, that's even better.
Yeah, I should be able to do this. Um, I'm glad you asked because it's good for me to fight through my nerves.
I'm with you on that.
So this is called Healing Power. We're on your shoulders, I know it's getting heavy. So if you need a friend, shout me, I'll be ready, yo. Felt the pain, but my peace is getting steady. I've been through it all, so no one try to test me, yo. Change the world, I give you all a voice. If your life isn't great, well, you always have a choice. Shouting for my freedom, I'll be always making noise. Cause the government, they pay more of us, treating us like toys. Going for the gold and changing up the ways. Healing all the people with the lyrics that I spray. Coming and I stay, praying on the days. Wake up humanity, they're treating us insane. I kill it now, I kill it cause it's smooth. Life is like a game, you can choose to win or lose. Put a plaster on your bruise, you can choose to grow. Healing up your DNA as a bit of slow. Oh, it might be slow, but the healing's getting deeper. Humanity's ascending and the rate is getting steeper. People waking up, but girl, I ain't a sleeper. Power in my soul, this one is a creeper. Change it up, change it cause I'm cool. All this knowledge in my head, but I ain't ever finished school. Like to break the rules, like to spit my flow. If you see me out and about, just stop and say hello. Oh, always friendly, always treat you nice. If you ever have a struggle, I'll hit you with advice. Starting fame, that's what I choose. You create life, yeah, it's always up to you. I'm going high now, I'm always getting higher. Don't believe the government, they're all a bunch of liars. Look into the soul, man, you know the reason fire. Focus on yourself and the love that you desire. You might see me hitting up the scene on the stage, feeling brave with a smile on my face. Made mistakes, but I'm always trying to grow. Changing up the music scene, let the people know. Life is crazy, it's not what it seems. It's just a game, so go live your dream. Believe in fate, but create it on the way. So sorry for the day, just manifest your pain away. I bring in love and I bring a little peace. Meditating when I'm stepping on the beat. Whoa, girl, I ain't ever been asleep. Waking up the people with the truth that I speak. It's going slow, but the beat is getting faster. Stepping up the levels, activating all my chakras. Activate the penal band, that's just the standard. Power to the people, yeah, the shit is getting anchored. Healing power, I got this healing power. Focus on yourself and that love that you desire. Healing power, I got this healing power. Forget about your struggles and you'll vibrate even higher. Healing power, I got this healing power. I'm changing up the music, yeah, I'm changing up the hours. Healing power, got this healing power. Power in my soul, now I'm climbing up the towers. Healing powers, I put them to rest. Healing this world is my lesson, my test. Yeah, I'm here, I'm trying my best. Pull up skirt, yeah, you know I try reps. Not kidding, I'm top to the left. Passenger seat, no stress in my head. I roll a J with a roach to the left. Keep it natural cause plants are best. Herbal remedies, feeling blessed. Healing deeply while I'm on my quest. Cornwall ways, down southwest. I rollin' big so I can token less. Manifest right, never blink twice. Always look up in this game called life. I'm here to remind that you have time. Follow your dreams, heal deep inside. Using your mind, just try to surrender. Stop going out on an all-night bender. Feel it to heal it, you will remember. If you need love, ask me, I'm the sender. Sending out all the love. I'm a spirit from above. Yeah, we're all the same now. Yeah, we're all one. And that's called healing power.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Well, you know, everyone has to excuse my French, but when I get excited, that was fucking dope. That was just like dope. That was so, oh wow, that was so dope.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm into it. I mean, I don't do it full time. I'd love to, you know, and I've been doing it for a few years, and I'm just getting back into it. But yeah, I love people that are just improvising. I'm a big believer in, you know, the spontaneous, creative, imaginative, intuitive.
Yeah.
You know, and but you know, oh wow, that's yeah. Somebody mentioned her and Robert have to get together. I will definitely reach out to you when we put some of these collaborations together, and we'll see if we can play. That's what it's all about. I'm a big believer. That's how this energy expands. Is we play with the magic, and then we don't have to worry. Then we don't have to worry about the BS, right? We don't have to worry about all that other stuff because the magic will just blow it away, right?
Yeah,
You're a
always.
you're a beautiful, beautiful sister. I really appreciate you. All blessings to you and all your loved ones and all your endeavors. And I look forward to sharing space with you again. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming in.
you. Same goes to you. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. You take care. All right. Thanks.
Thank you. You too. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
I will. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.